Hi, I'm Akshita Shetty. Welcome to Maker's Bar. I'm your host today. And today we have Colonel Rajeev Bharwan, who's with us, and he has a very inspiring story. So I reached out to him a few days ago, a few weeks ago, and I felt like I need to get his story out there in the world and learn about leadership from him. And welcome, Colonel. And I am really excited to talk to you today and learn about your story.
Thank you so much, Akshata. Pleasure is all mine. Thanks for taking out time and getting me on the board. Thank you so very much.
Thanks for coming as well. So, Rajiv, let's get started on the questions. So, my first question is, can you tell us about your journey into the military and the pivotal moments that shaped your career so far? Because I feel like you've had a long journey, and I kind of want to know um, how uh, how you got started and what the journey was like in some brief words.
Okay. Okay. My father was a officer and he was a serving officer in Border Security Force.
Okay.
So I had seen people in uniform. My Dadaji, my grandfather, he was also in army.
Uh-huh.
So I'd seen people in uniform around me ever since I was a childhood. I'd seen that environment. So
Uh-huh.
that initial spark was always there.
Uh-huh.
But then one of the posting when I reached there in class ninth, and I seen my father was posted in a training establishment where officers were being trained. So
Mhm.
that was the turning point where I felt, okay, I need to join and be. These men look different from others. So I
Uh-huh.
wanted to be one among them. Yes, I also want to become like my father. He was my role model.
Uh-huh.
And the journey started from there. And there were those episodes and some about gallantry award winners. There was an episode, Paramveer Chakra, the highest gallantry award in the
Uh-huh.
country. So there was a
Okay.
series in those times when I used to go to school. So that was a great, great motivation for me. The
Okay.
journey started from there the moment I cleared my graduation. So in the
Mhm.
first attempt, I cleared my competitive exam, went for the interview, 5 day cycle, cracked that, and
Uh-huh.
went for my training in Officers Training Academy, Chennai. So this is
So
how I started my journey.
which age was
Second,
when you wanted to be join the armed forces?
I was 21, 22 when I joined up the armed forces. Yeah.
Okay.
So I went for the training. Now, pivotal moment in armed forces, and you said in my career.
Yeah.
So distinctly, there were apna 4 point I would remember. Number one was the training duration in the academy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Training in the academy, we used to say there are only 3 seasons because Chennai, as you might be aware, it is very hot in
Yeah.
temperature,
Yeah.
and especially when you're doing that rigorous training in the academy. So we had only 3 seasons there. One was hot, second
Uh-huh.
was hotter, and third was the hottest.
Uh-huh.
So most of the time, it was hottest season for us. You
Uh-huh.
know,
Yeah.
along with extreme weathers. But what we learned there, people coming from different part of the country, from different religions, different communities, background, and experiences. But
Yeah.
when you go through the tough time, na, so
Yeah.
that bonding, that really makes some camaraderie amongst you.
Yeah.
The no man to be left behind was the first lesson we learned in the academy. That really shaped my mentality, my mindset. Whether it is good or bad, whatever it is, and when it comes to buddy, it is yours. No
Mm-hmm.
man to be left behind. If one man is left behind, then we rise together and we fall apart. This
Yeah.
is the lesson. And mental toughness was another thing in the academy which they taught us. Whether you do or you die. The
Yeah.
last option is you have to complete the assigned task. And especially when it is a team game, it is all about us and we. And there's nothing exists like I. So
Yeah.
academy days was this thing where you have been pushed to the worst of your physical and mental abilities. And the answer was always a big, bold capital yes. It can be done and will be done. Even
Yeah.
if you're dying, the last word that should come out of your mouth is loud and clear, yes, sir. So these kind of things, and I learned in academy, and academy really shaped me, which I
Yeah.
carry till date today. I've
Yeah.
learned, the people who are junior in rank, junior commissioned officers, those
Yeah.
NCOs,
Yeah.
they are the people who actually shape you and get the metal out of you, and
Yeah.
they train and make you wonderful officer.
Yeah.
So that camaraderie, team spirit, and all those basic mannerism and etiquettes, and
Yeah.
that mental and physical toughness was the time when academy days, and you were there with your buddies.
Yeah.
Although 14, say 16 of my course are today not there. They had attained martyrdom. They
Yeah.
made the supreme sacrifice an officer in line of duty, or for
Yeah.
some other reasons, you know.
Yeah.
But till they today, whenever we have a reunion, we get together. The first dining table and the
Mhm.
first glass of the wine that is reserved is for those guys with a
Mhm.
commitment. And someday we are going to catch up there and we are going to have the
Yeah.
reunion again. So
Yes.
that is the kind of camaraderie we carry. So that was one turning point.
Uh-huh.
Second was commando course. The commando course is one of the toughest course, and that I did. That was the first course, in fact, I did,
Mhm.
and I did when I was a youngster.
Mhm.
And during that course, I had sustained injuries. I had severe fracture in both my legs.
Mhm.
So the last run was 30 kilometers. I was admitted in the hospital.
Mhm.
On the account that you are not well, you had fracture in both your legs. But I
Uh-huh.
jumped out of the window, latched the door, and still and I was able to sneak in that race. And
Uh-huh.
participated against all orders and everything. I said, I'll take punishment, but I must finish what I started. I was doing well so far everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was left after 45 minutes from the first guy. That was the time lag we had.
Uh-huh.
But I completed with complete honesty, not only completed, but I still finished first on the course and got
Uh-huh.
best in physicals trophy. So
Yeah.
that was again when I realized ki, till the time you are not dead, your pulse is on and you're breathing, every damn thing is possible. One
Yeah.
should never give up, come what may. And today, after so many years, when I meet my youngsters, they say, "Sir, we have come across and we have been told your story, you inspire." So that, in fact, motivates me also when I
Yeah.
look back. Something which I did 25 years back that still is keeping me going.
Yeah. Yeah. You have very
Third
high.
was, yeah, and third was, service in counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism operation.
Yeah.
So when you're working in a very high volatile and high intense environment,
Yeah.
without knowing, whether you are going to make it or
Mhm.
whether you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
But then it is all about the team game. The commitment is always there in the heart.
Yeah.
If you're taking 10 men along with you, all 10 should come back. If there's only one person who's not going to make back, that would be me, but not definitely anyone from my team.
Mhm.
And that was something, which always felt give you that sense of, leadership. Okay, the
Yeah.
people are ready to die on your orders. They are ready to do any damn thing. And
Yeah.
most of the thing under very intense environment, and every decision has to be a snap decision. You need to think very fast. You need to decide very quick, and you need to act even faster.
Yeah. So
So
that's like a very big deal, right? People are willing to die under your orders. The responsibility is great actually during
yeah,
that. Yeah.
I always had this in my mind. I don't want to go to grave with any guilt or regret on my chest.
Yeah.
So I'd always made a conscious endeavor ki as many people are going with me, the
Yeah.
same number of the people must get back home.
Yeah.
And so far, God has been kind. I always was able to live up to that ethos and that
Yeah.
commitment.
So
Yeah.
what, so since you spoke about certain things, what core values, I mean, during your time at the academy or the armed forces that you continue even to this day and that guides your decisions even to this day?
Uh, the one which is closest to my heart is
Yeah.
follow the basics.
Okay.
The basic is something which is absolutely missing in the environment today.
Hmm.
Whether it is about the students, whether it is about Gen Z, the young generation, and
Yeah.
the defense aspirant, and people working in the corporate anywhere.
Yeah.
The basics are weak,
Hmm.
and follow the basics, and I follow till date. I do everything possible, starting from cleaning my
Yeah.
house, doing basic chores and everything, and cleaning my plates to washing my car. I do everything, wiping everything by myself, and I take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Normally, people are dependent on others, and I'm used to whether I have to polish my shoes, I have to
Yeah.
make up my uniform, anything I do. And I follow a good routine. People get up at 10 o'clock. People say today is Sunday. I say, man, when the task is there is
Yeah.
no Sunday, there is no holiday. There's nothing for free. You have to earn it. Even
Yeah.
if Sunday is there, you deserve Sunday and a good sleep only when you have worked hard and completed your job.
Yeah.
Even the bread on plate for the day has to be hard earned.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I believe you follow a good routine and keep yourself physically fit. Do as possible, as much as possible, all
Hmm.
the tasks by yourself independently. And don't wait for the orders to do something. And
Hmm.
dig out the work for you and give it a meaningful completion. And
Okay.
whether it is respecting the elders, respecting the genders, the ladies, being on
Mhm.
the right time, at the right place, at the right location, at the right
Yeah.
uniform.
Yeah.
These are few of the very basics. And I generally, if I lose my fuse, it's only when somebody is going against the basic. And a junior not respecting elders, you're not there on the time. Okay, you're not doing your own work and you're complaining. Follow
Yeah,
the basics. That is the closest value I carry from my military career. You should always follow the basics,
I
whether
agree with
on parade or off parade.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm also a person with routine. And this morning, like it's 7 a.m. and I'm here, right? And it's a Sunday for me. And people criticize me because people get upset. Whoever lives with me get very upset that I have routines, and they're like, "Why you to do this?" Right? My parents, my husband, and everyone. And I'm like, "That's who I am. If I don't finish my routines, I cannot, continue," kind of a thing. Because without actually, I feel like a routine, you cannot sustain in your life at all. Like if you have to do many things, you cannot sustain at all. I would say.
See, scientifically also, Akshata, I tell you, it takes only 1 day to develop a habit. And
Yeah.
habit is not any habit is not developed overnight. Other
Yeah.
than bad habits, if you want to develop a good habit, it takes practice. It
Mm.
demands a lot of consistency, and that comes only when you do it on a regular daily basis.
Yeah.
Matlab, I'm not literally saying that one should be a slave to the watch, but
Yeah.
at least do it on time and do it sincerely. That is what is required. Idea is not to be serious, but definitely one should be sincere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's important. Like you cannot beat to the
Yeah.
watch, I agree, but it's important to have some routine. If you have those
True.
routines, your life becomes easy. I mean, I get criticized a lot for it from my friends, everybody. So
Now there is a bestseller in Atomic Habits. One should read
atomic
it. Although I have not read it,
habits. I
but
have
it has become bestseller for some purpose, some reason.
yeah, I've gifted that book to people who I felt didn't have atomic habits.
Okay. If they still don't improve, please hand over them to me. I promise you, I'll put them in straight.
They have not improved, unfortunately. My best
No,
friend.
no. My commitment to you, you hand over to me in 21 days. I'll show you the magic.
So, how do you approach? So, since you spoke about like taking the men with you and
Mhm.
coming all safe back, right? So, you obviously have had some high stakes situations, right?
Yeah.
And you have to make decision in those high stakes situations, and
Mhm.
especially in the armed forces, the stakes are very high because it's life and death, right?
Yeah.
And what advice would you give when somebody is making such critical choices under pressure? And I say this because this is on a day-to-day basis, whether we lead our lives or whether we lead our professional lives, right? You need to make critical choices, and which is all mostly under pressure. But like if the situation, your workplace, right, the pressures are much more higher. So
Mhm.
what advice would you give, considering you've made some critical decisions during that time, and even now probably, I'm sure.
The first thing I would advise, one should remain calm.
Yeah,
As a commander, situation may be volatile and it may be serious, but it should not come in your face. It should
yeah,
not come in your voice. It should not come in your actions.
yeah,
If a commander gets jittery and he start taking knee-jerk reaction,
yeah,
everything will get jeopardized.
yeah,
So the most important thing is one should be in a very cool-headed. Whether it
yeah.
is a game, whether it is operation, war, any damn thing. One should be very, very calm and composed. That is rule number one.
Okay,
And rule number two is think fast, decide faster.
okay,
Third, when you disseminate orders, orders should look like an order.
yeah,
There should be so much of conviction in that. When you say something, people take it in a Bible word. Yes, this is the correct thing, and this is the only correct thing and the best thing.
yeah.
And most importantly, whenever you take decision and lives are at stake, the
Hmm.
first and the most important thing is the men who are with you, who are your subordinates,
Hmm.
their welfare, their interest should be your prima facie, the most important thing for a commander. And
Hmm.
you yourself and I should put yourself as the last priority.
Yeah. So let me ask you slightly variation to this, right? So you said
Uh-huh.
people have to, I mean, they're putting their life in your hand
Yeah.
as a commander, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of, I mean, at least how does armed forces teach you to submit? Because it's the highest form of submission where you're like, okay, I have to listen to this guy and I don't know what is going to happen to my life. How how is it inculcated? What if you don't believe in your leadership? Like in corporate, it's often that we don't believe in our leadership, right? So
No,
how
it
does
never.
this inculcate that that submission from to the command to the to the ranking officer?
Okay. See, I always say it is not the rank or it is not the position that honors a
Yeah,
title or something. It is the person who has to honor the rank. Number
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Second, in the army, whenever, whether it is academy days or where you get commission, you join your unit.
Yeah.
The kind of the grooming that is given in the as a part of the Pulton ethos and the unit ethos, you
Mm-hmm.
go through those spaces where you stay with the boys, with your men. You eat with them, you dine with them, you
Mm-hmm.
walk with them, you train with them, you make merry with them, you
Mm-hmm.
go under high intense this thing with them.
Mm-hmm.
And as an officer, it is deeply ingrained into your mind that
Mm-hmm.
by just putting ranks on your shoulder, you don't become an officer or a leader.
Yeah.
You need to lead them from the forefront,
Mm-hmm.
always, every time, and everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It is as simple as that. If you
Mm-hmm.
want somebody to follow you, you need to be in the front in the line. If you're
Mm-hmm.
not there, you're not a leader.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to follow you.
Yeah.
Second thing is one should walk its talk, and it happens. Like I
Mm-hmm.
used to tell very often in my command, I used to tell my men, if I
Mm-hmm.
demand anything, if I order you to do something, now
Yeah.
believe me, I will never ask or even expect anything from you which I myself am not capable of doing, irrespective of my age or my rank.
Mm-hmm.
But if I demand anything from you, okay, and I'm capable of doing, believe me, I'll put my hands inside your neck. I'm going to put the vocal cord outside, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
ensure that is done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you always tell them to do what you are capable of doing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it is as simple as that. Now, the men are there, then only you exist. If
Mm-hmm.
men are not there, and whom you're going to command, and whom you're going to claim that you're leader of someone.
Yeah. Yeah. But
So,
has
and
it
the
ever
most,
happened? So, I
yeah,
mean, in your career, I mean, I'm sure this has happened many times where like you've not like liked a leadership of some person, right? And
yeah,
you've been forced to report to this person, or somebody's been forced to report to you, right? Within a particular initiative or particular whatever you want to call it, right? So, has that ever happened? And like, how do people deal with something like that within the
okay. There is a power of making a choice, and everybody is entitled and empowered with
yeah,
choices.
yeah,
One has to make his own conscious choice.
yeah,
Now, most of the people they find it convenient way to say always and every time, yes, sir,
yeah,
just because somebody senior is there.
yeah.
My idea is there, it is not about seniority and juniority. It is about the right and wrong.
Hmm.
It cannot happen every time somebody is right and somebody is wrong. So
Yeah.
one should have that kind of conviction. If you have been trained well and you are a soldier by your conduct and heart, then whether it is your reports, whether it is your career, rest, everything is secondary. But
Yeah.
first and the value first and foremost thing is, you should know when to say yes and when to say no. If you
Yeah.
don't even have guts to say no, see, we all are adults, we are educated people, we are trained well.
Yeah.
There is important and there can be occasions where people have difference of opinion, and that is highly acceptable. What is the problem? It
Mhm.
happens within house also, within family members. But then we are educated and we are mature to a level where we can sit across the table and over a drink we can always discuss something, and
Mhm.
through a healthy discussion we can always arrive to a common point. Yes, okay,
Yeah.
this is correct because of these reasons and these are the areas. But if you
Mhm.
talk and there is no problem that cannot be resolved. Even countries they resolve their big issues through
Mhm.
bilateral dialogues. So why can't two people do it in uniform?
Mm-mm.
So there
Mm-mm.
have been occasions where I have firmly said no, but at the same time I'd explain reasons why it is not good.
Mhm.
Just because there is something good for one particular person, but it is not in organizational interest or the interest of the men, I was always the first man to stand tall and say no,
Mhm.
irrespective whether somebody is senior liked my face or not. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I was very sure I should have a very peaceful sleep. Today, at least, I behaved like a good commander. I said no.
Yeah.
And मजा आता था. But when you sometimes say no, you earn a lot of respect. ऐसी बात नहीं है. It's not
Yeah.
like that. The people, if there is one people who is getting annoyed, there are hundred and thousands of people who say, "Wow, I love this man," and I took stand for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
totally.
sometimes saying no is a good answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Many times people cannot say no, so it's an art
No,
to.
in personal life and professional life, both it
Yeah.
is very important, and no should be no, and
Yeah.
people should understand this.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. So moving on from the leadership questions, right now, the defense sector has undergone a lot of technological transformation. Like within my lifetime, so many things have happened, right?
Yeah.
So, like in the last few years, and now you see wars everywhere. Without going into all the details of what wars are going
Mhm.
on everywhere, what innovations have like stood out to you? Because we are about innovation, like at Makers Bar. So what do you think is shaping the future of defense from your perspective?
Information.
Information. Okay.
Right information, precise information, fastest information is really is the most important thing on the chessboard today. You know,
Okay.
पहले ये होता था कि everything you had to go and verify on ground. But
Yeah.
today, you're sitting in one part of the world and immediately you got an access to the information. If it is
Yeah.
an accurate information and fastest means it can be, delivered, the results can be, phenomenal.
Uh-huh.
You put one chip somewhere today, corrupt the entire system, and you can jeopardize and bring the entire system to a collapse. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to get everywhere physically, you know.
Yeah.
So information technology is one thing which is actually shaping the world, not only the defense sector, but the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
Today, you are sitting in one part of the world, and I'm sitting in another part of the globe. And
Yeah.
over a couple of seconds, we are connecting and we are communicating and sharing our views.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
This was unheard of 4 years ago, if you can believe it or not. I mean, we did
Yeah.
have online Zoom and all of that, but this was unheard of 4 years ago. In fact, it started all during COVID. I mean, if you had asked me this 4 years ago, that would you be doing something like this, I'd be like, no, I wouldn't be doing this. But now we are here. So, how do you? So, are there any advancements that you believe have the potential to redefine the way military operations are done, that you have seen, other than information, that you feel like, okay, the way we conduct operations is going to drastically change because of this particular technology?
Yeah, of course, the methodology, and it is not applicable here, but it is applicable across the world.
Hmm.
If you go back to, the very old days, and people used to have, it was decisively who had the bigger army, who had
Yeah,
got more manpower.
yeah.
But today, it is besides more technology, the modus operandi.
Hmm.
These days, these are more focused on the covert ops. You know,
Hmm.
covert ops, small teams, without physically getting involved, and you still create a lot of damage. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
whether it is in the form of espionage, okay, and
Hmm.
these kind of operations. So this is one thing which actually had created, and you can have multiple teams and small teams operating at different part of the country,
Hmm.
different ways of functioning without
Hmm.
putting a uniform, but still causing a lot of damage.
Hmm.
So that is one thing. Direct confrontation, take a prolonged wars, and today is a obsolete thing.
Hmm.
Today in the world where everything is economy driven, anybody pitching a prolonged fight face to face is
Hmm.
definitely going to get the entire country in the crumbled and economy 10 years back. Nobody can afford even the best of the nation, the superpowers can't
Yeah,
afford that luxury. So it's
yeah.
always localized and effect. You hit at the right point, precision,
Hmm.
okay, with a small team to have a greater impact. The center of gravity today has taken precedence over all other things. You hit at the right spot and everything ceases. You win. It is something like giving a knock
Yeah,
on the face during the boxing, and you get result with one knock,
yeah.
otherwise knockout kar diya, you get the result immediately, and otherwise you keep punching here and there, scoring 2 point 1 point, so it
Yeah.
will unnecessarily exhaust both the parties, and the result will not be that encouraging.
So you're saying all the countries that are engaging in this massive war should stop that right away and do smaller.
Obviously, the war never. Now, tell me one example where war had brought any good thing to anyone.
No, nobody.
If people have, sometimes there are places going on. Somewhere people are fighting for their existence.
Mhm.
Somewhere people had got economical and military, diplomatical reasons, sovereign reasons, whatever reasons.
Yeah,
And I think it is much against the will. Sometimes it is always as the last resort of war is adopted by any of the nations. Not as
yeah.
a choice, matter of choice.
Mm. I
Yeah.
agree. I cannot agree more. I think in today's day and age where there is so much that we can do, we don't have to sit on wars and fight wars on the border. I cannot concur more than I mean what we are going through now and at a global scale, I think is very, very, I mean, I don't even have words for it. So anyway, so moving on from mentorship to mentorship and team development, right?
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to individuals who aspire to have a career in the military or the defense sector?
The first three piece of advice I'll tell them, keep be simple. Everybody want to be extraordinary,
Yeah,
but I always tell them like being simple is the best thing one can have. It's a lost virtue these days.
yeah,
So the way you are absolutely fine, and just change your ways of working.
yeah,
Otherwise, take pride in what you are, whether it is your background, whether it is your skin color, whether
yeah.
it is your height, your academic education, your marks, or anything.
Mhm.
Numbers, your colors, your body shape, nothing is going to define you, but only you.
Yeah.
So the first thing is take pride in being you.
Hmm.
Be original. Don't try to copy someone else. And
Okay.
second thing is stay confident always.
Yeah.
Even if you're not confident, and at least one must appear and look confident.
Yeah.
This is very, very sure and an important thing. And this is again, this is one virtue which I see in every second person. I is so scared. They have got a lot of complaints, and I keep explaining to them somebody who's habitual of complaining can never create anything in life. And the one who want to create something in life will never complain.
They will
So you
solution.
decide what you want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's funny
And
that you say this. When so I went to business school in the States here, and we had this before we started school. They put us through some kind of training where they make us do very rigorous things because they want to make sure that we are able to study and do all of that. So we
yeah,
had to do a case study, and we had to work the whole night and do the case study. So the next day, this Professor Blumenthal, she used to sit on the board of Gap, and she said like, but when you come tomorrow, even though you work the entire night, you have to look perfect tomorrow. I mean, you have to wear your formal clothes, your suits and ties, and look perfect. And I'll tell you, I'll never forget that advice because every time I have to present, at least I need to look a little bit decently presentable. I'll never forget. And I think that's very important, like to have that confidence and to have that presence. No matter how hard you work the previous night, it's important that you put together and then you go wherever you are. I mean, you don't have to look like a model or something like that, but you put together and then you go there, kind of a thing. So I totally hear you when you said that, be simple and take pride in yourself, because it's very, very important.
yeah.
Yeah. So how do you inspire or instill confidence in a team, especially in challenging situations? Like, uh, I mean, it's very, very hard to inspire teams, right? I mean, whether it's corporate. I mean, mostly I have corporate experience. How do you do that in a highly challenging situation? Like, right now, I'm working with a global team, and I'm running some initiatives in a global situation. And I sometimes wonder, like, you know, uh, how do I instill confidence in the team and in the leadership that I have? How do you do that?
Okay. First thing, and I always tell them, ki, I'm the last person who's going to judge you. Most of the people in their career and profession, everybody, most of the people, they are running for the appraisal.
Yeah.
So I keep telling them, man, don't be into this rat race, and need to understand at the end of the rat race, you still remain a rat only. So
Hmm.
don't run so fast and die the death of a rat.
Hmm.
Don't work for the appraisal, work for your happiness and satisfaction. That is rule number one, I tell them.
Yeah.
And I tell them, ki, everyone is outstanding. This I'm telling you without assessing you on day one. And you literally have to prove me wrong by putting a lot of hard work. Ki, sir, see, we proved you wrong. I focus more on teaching my team rather than judging them and assessing them. I
Hmm.
tell them, if you are weak at something, I tell them, you just tell me your weakness. Ki, sir,
Yeah.
I find my limitations are here. I find my weakness is here. And don't
Yeah.
be skeptical and scared of it. I'm not
Yeah.
going to judge you. I'm asking you so that I can strengthen your hand. I can teach you. I can train you, and I can say it with conviction at the end of this thing. Yes, now this boy is outstanding because I worked upon him. He learned his lessons and now he'd improve and he's actually outstanding. So
Yeah.
I don't find fault with my team. Because I personally feel the day I start, any leader for that matter, the day you start finding fault with your team, so I
Mhm.
consider the one who is finding a fault and is at fault. I consider then the leader is a failure because by making a statement, ki individual X or Miss X or Mr. X is not good or non-performer, I
Mhm.
think the owner's responsibility lies more on the person. You
Yeah.
had 1 year with you to train someone. You could have
Yeah.
trained them, motivated them. So your command, your leadership, your team is absolutely your reflection, and my team is my reflection. If somebody says this team is weak, I take it as a personal insult. If
Mhm.
somebody says the team is good, I always give the credit to them.
Yeah.
Whenever
So
something good happens, the credit goes to team. When something goofs up, the bug
mhm.
stops at me. I'm the last person who's always standing there. Nothing will go to the team.
Yeah. So let me ask you in a slightly different manner. What if you had someone who was not interested in improving? I mean,
Okay,
yeah. I
I will
mean,
first
and this
very
probably is
simple.
not very common in armed forces because people who have come there have come with a certain motivation, right? Because
Okay,
they want to be there or
no,
whatever.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you answer to this.
Yeah.
One rule which I strictly follow in my life: nothing is for free.
Yeah.
Okay. If somebody had joined a profession and nobody had extended the invitation, somebody had come at a will, he had gone through the process, interview, got
Yeah.
selected, and salary is being credited to his and her account.
Yeah.
First, I'll try to teach. If they do
Yeah.
some mistake, I will
Yeah.
give them chances to improve. I will
Yeah.
try and teach them also. But if they fail to come up to the standard and they say, "Ki, okay, I have not been able to grasp," then I'll definitely caution them. And thereafter, still they don't show improvement, I will definitely going to hire a better alternative.
Yeah.
But I'll first give a chance. There are two kind of mistakes. One is error of judgment. If somebody is working and error of judgment happens, I'll excuse even 10 times. But
Mm-hmm.
error of intention, somebody is not ready to improve. No, that
Mm-hmm.
is highly not acceptable. It's
Yeah.
not a charity going on. If something is getting in a bread to your plate, and one should be honest to deliver the best thing in
Yeah.
organizational interest. Otherwise, definitely, it is option number one is you come my way. Option number two, you go highway.
Yeah.
There's no third option. One
Yeah.
has to improve. If I'm putting some interest, that is the least expected out of a gentleman or a lady. Ki
Mhm.
you reciprocate. Feelings always had to be reciprocal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It cannot happen that I'm slogging like a horse, trying to
Yeah.
teach someone, and somebody says, okay, I don't care, I care. Oh, no, that is not going to work with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally hear you. So,
See,
sorry.
yeah, three things. What I tell my team exactly, I'll tell you. I
Yeah.
tell them, I'm going to train you in three phases.
Yeah.
Phase number one, where I'm just going to teach you, absolutely just training and teaching. You
Yeah.
do as many goof up you want to do, not an issue, and the blame is on me.
Mm-hmm.
I will not even ask you why. You just tell, sir, you have not taught us properly, and you have not taught me 10 times. I'll buy that thing in phase one.
Yeah.
In phase two, I will start expecting something out of you. Given day night, I'm working so hard with so much of passion. I'm trying to teach you something. So I
Yeah.
expect at least you ask me something, you give me some feedback, you clarify a doubt.
Yeah.
When I reach to the third stage, when teaching is over and expectation is on the side, and third stage, I'm not going to give you any choice. I'm not going to give you a chance. I'll hit you so very hard on your chest, and if I want something, I'll demand of it, and you bloody deliver it to me. You don't
Yeah.
do it, you're dead.
Yeah.
So in three phases, I work: teach, then little bit of expectation, and third is I demand, and one should deliver. They
Yeah.
can't fail me and my teachings. Yeah, no one does that. Hmm.
Quite a confidence, I would
Yes, it has to be this way only. When I'm working with so much of passion, nobody
say.
should insult my efforts. And on day one, they should say, "Sir, I'm least interested." It cannot happen. And like, they burn me out, and then they say, "I'm not interested." No, then to
Yeah.
I'll kill even a dead man. I'll put him back to life. I'll ensure that he complete the task, and then I can claim that I'm dead now. That is
Yeah.
acceptable. Not
Yeah.
before that.
I agree. So we spoke a little bit about discipline, right?
Okay.
And we so tell us how and military is one of the highest order of discipline careers, and I have to respect. I mean, I grew up in an Air Force base, so I have seen some of my friends, their parents, and I think I've somewhere the discipline is, for me, has personally come from there. So, so what do you what do you think is a kind of a routine that will kind of, or simple principles that will help even like civilians who are from a personal and professional perspective, that you feel like one should follow, right? Is it morning waking up, getting doing an exercise, or in what do you think are like few of the ethos that you learn there, or discipline that you learn there that you can follow as a civilian as well?
Okay. In that case, I would advise, it is something like having a menu on your table. If you
Yeah.
have a very strict, stringent menu, every day you will have this is the menu, and anybody will get fed. Same
Yeah.
thing I said a few minutes back. You never be a slave to the watch. The
Yeah.
idea is not to have a minute-to-minute timetable, but the idea had to be in a well-served menu in
Yeah.
life. So one should divide the entire 24-hour cycle into a few domains. Number one, first segment is physical and mental fitness. Everyone,
Yeah.
only thing everyone is carrying along with them is the body. This is
Mm.
what we came with, and this is what we are going, living behind.
Yeah.
So this is the only thing we have with us. So one should make a conscious endeavor to do something, whether it is yoga, meditation, cycling, swimming, running, whatever it suits them, their environment and their facility resources. But they do something about it to keep themselves in a good state of physical and mental conditioning. Number one,
Mm.
this is the one segment. Second is your uh, this thing, personal life. When I say personal life, and anything, your morning goes से लेकर के, you're sleeping, you're eating, bathing, everything.
Mhm.
Those hygiene से लेकर के, and everything, you should take care of that. And
Mm-hmm.
third thing is your social life. Social life, when I say it comes to your family, your
Yeah.
friends, and another thing. And fourth aspect is your professional life. If you're a student, one should focus on the studies. If one is working in a corporate, and one should focus on this. If somebody is in a military, one should focus on the assigned tasks. So
Yeah.
these four important segments are there: physical and mental fitness, your personal routine, personal things, professional things, and social life. And
Yeah.
one should try to make a balance out of these things
Yeah.
depending on the requirement, the kind of the commitment you have. And
Yeah.
one should prioritize what is important. What is important on Monday may not be that important on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
one can prioritize as per their own personal commitment. And then
Yeah.
most important thing is making a timetable or a schedule is not difficult thing. Today
Mm-hmm.
with AI, Chat GPT, or with own effort, and people will take 5 minutes to make
Mm-hmm.
a very wonderful, appealing, timetable. Okay, now this look the perfect timetable. But
Yeah.
the most important thing is one need to get involved in that and you need to follow it religiously.
Yeah.
Merely making a timetable is not going to fetch you anything. But
Mm-hmm.
if you follow it religiously, it will do wonders. One
Yeah.
can cheat the entire world, one can cheat boyfriend and girlfriend. But if
Yeah.
somebody is that capable, they can do cheating with themselves, then God bless them. Then nothing is going to help. The discipline, the real definition of discipline, what I had understood in my life is
Yeah.
self discipline. Until unless you put this word self in front of discipline, nothing is going to work out.
Yeah.
Self. You need to get involved. But most of the people, on the contrary, what they do, they convince themselves in the wrong place. Most of the people I come across, they say, sir, I've got self doubt. But
Yeah.
the best way to get out of the self doubt, and you please remove the self out of the doubt. Doubt will never be there, and put it in the right place and discipline, love, compassion, self care.
Yeah.
Learn to put this self at the right place. That is very, very important.
Yeah.
And the real meaning of discipline is not when somebody is watching you. The
Yeah.
real discipline comes into play what you do
Yeah.
when nobody is watching you. That's
Yeah.
what army taught me.
Yeah. So, tell me, okay, so now moving on from that and going back to
Hmm.
the defense and armed forces, and I know I'm switching back and forth between the questions.
No
Uh,
issues.
so, tell me what do you think is the biggest challenge that the defense sector will face in the next decade to come? And we are already in a very interesting environment globally. What, according to you, would be the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge would be manpower only.
Yeah,
The kind of the materialistic approach today people have. Everybody wants money. They want a lot of money. They
yeah,
want comfort. They want luxury. Maybe. Today people are very passionate about in days to come. People will, it might take a back seat. The
yeah,
best of the guys might not come to this profession. They're
yeah,
the only apprehension. But yes, even if 20 less are coming, but if the most passionate people are coming, I'm happy with that thing.
yeah,
Challenges will come, but then any well-trained army is highly capable to take on challenges. They're going
yeah,
to grow stronger out of that. So I don't see any much big of apprehension.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now moving on to Soldiers Unplugged, right?
Yeah.
We spoke about so many things. How did you get started on Soldiers Unplugged? And I mean, I know the story, but I want to know, make sure that the audiences also know that how and where you got started with it.
Okay. One After hanging my boots and after completing more than 2 decades, 21-year plus service in army in olive green and combats, when I stepped outside and came in the second innings, and I thought, what should I do? People suggested corporate. I said, "Man, not my cup of tea. I don't belong there."
Yeah,
And I wanted to be independent, do something.
yeah,
So I knew there are three things in which I am very good. In order of priority, one was operations, but obviously once you're out, you can't deal with the operations. That is
yeah,
well understood. Except the second part was the training part. So
yeah,
I thought training is something which suits me. I can motivate people. I can genuinely train them and put a fire into their chest and make them walking machines of confidence.
yeah,
So I thought I should do this thing. And when I interacted with the youngsters, I realized, everybody want to be confident. They know the language, everything, but they are very scared. They're
yeah,
not very sure about their decisions.
yeah,
So I found it very interesting. Why not try this? So
yeah,
I started with one person and then I had to name it something. I named it Soldier Unplugged
mhm,
because I thought, why should I use rank, for this? Soldier is good enough. Many people, they think, I was one of the sailors. I said, man, not an issue. I was a colonel in army, but rank is not going to define me. Soldier is. I kept the name because I didn't want it to associate it with one particular rank.
yeah,
And unplugged, that means raw,
yeah,
absolute raw. That is how I have been in the service, even after service. I'm absolutely straightforward and raw. Whether people like it or they don't like it, they want to hear it or not, none of my
Yeah.
business. I'll say exactly the same thing, which is going to hit them hard, and they need to listen, and that is
Yeah.
going to add some value to their life. So I named it Soldier Unplugged,
Mm-hmm.
and I started with the youngsters.
Yeah.
Initially, when I started with the core concept key. It will be for the defense aspirants, those who want to join Indian Army, Air Force, and Navy.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, I realized that the present generation, they are full of doubts, hell lot of doubts.
Yeah.
And doubts, a book can be written on their doubts. And I realized, it is not only about things. So I started on a new concept. I said, okay, fine.
Yeah.
If anybody want to prepare only for 1 day interview or for 5 days interview cycle, then
Mm-hmm.
please don't come to me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who is willing to work upon his life, volunteer to learn something, is more than welcome.
Uh-huh.
So I told them, if you want to prepare for 1 day or 5 day interview, don't come to me. But if you want to prepare for life, then you are welcome home.
Uh-huh.
So that was my concept. So I prepare people for life, not for 1 day interview or 5 days interview.
Mm-hmm.
And today I've come a long way where, whether it is age, gender, occupation, nothing is
Yeah.
a stopping thing, for me. I got a
Yeah.
student who was just 5 years. There have been people in the campus who were 84 years, 70 years, 60 years. They all
Uh-huh.
come. There are people who say, sir, I've got 3 months to live. I've got three as per the doctor, and I'm still holding on to them, and we are pushing. The people, who had blood cancer, but they are fighting fit.
Yeah.
Somebody who committed suicide and multiple times, but today is running his successful business.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who had gone through, sexual abuse multiple times, but today she is going to be an officer.
Mm-hmm.
There's someone who was walking along the roadside, but they are officer today in Indian Army.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who had ran away from his home and he was working at a restaurant along the roadside for 4 years, but today he is doing his IIT and he's got his own drone lab.
Yeah.
People who were into bad habits, people even from the US also had come, many of them.
Uh-huh.
He said he is alcoholic, he has got drug abuse, he has got schizophrenia, anything and everything. I tell them, somebody who is not confident definitely is dead, as per me.
Yeah.
But till the time you got a pulse and you got a breathing on, everything is feasible. It can be done and will be done.
So,
So
so it has not just remained to the training for soldiers as such. It has gone to like
it has gone beyond that thing. And now today, if I had to put it in summary, I will say that I work on people not for 1 day, but I prepare them for life.
yeah.
And I train them on all possible domains. That is their physical and mental conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
whether it is physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, every aspect I take care. My schedule is like this, where we do the mass praise in the morning, in the evening, we start and end our day with that. In the
Yeah.
classes, and we do sing, we do dance. We do have a lot of funny games, activities. We go for night route marches. I
Yeah.
push them to the limits. If they're sleeping 2 o'clock, I'll push them. And if it is raining heavily, I'll give them a mud therapy, and they'll say, sir, we love you, man. Good. Even if you think otherwise, man, whatever you're thinking about me, same to you. ठीक है. This is how it goes. And I create an environment where they live in a community where a small child is also there. There is a mom also there.
Yeah.
There is a dad and grandpa is also there. They are a defense aspirant. They are
Yeah.
working professional. They are people who had got severe medical problems.
Yeah.
But they learn how to live in a family, how to live in a society, and how to take care of everyone.
Yeah.
Anybody who's weak, and we push them, motivate them, and take him along with us. We make everyone feel loved and important. And this is how we grow. This is how we learn. This is how we live. I
Yeah.
basically teach them, you live life with love, with Josh, and nobody to complain. I give them only one chance to cry, one chance to complain.
Yeah.
The second chance anybody try, I tell them, and you consider yourself dead.
So
Nobody takes chances with me.
where can they find you, and if they want to be a part of Soldiers Unplugged, where can they find you, and how can they reach?
I initially I used to tell people, then if you want to be trained under my wings, find me. So
Yeah.
people used to say, sir, it has been 6 months. I'm trying to locate you, and it has been 1 year. But surprisingly, with so much of affection and passion, people had come from US, Germany, Canada, Netherlands. They traveled all the way and
Yeah.
showing my photograph in the mobile, where I'm going to find this man. They said, you go to jungle 11K, wherever you hear, sir, we love you, you'll find
Yeah.
him there. So
Yeah.
journey started with this, but yes, I have realized a lot of people, they had gone through a tough journey to find me. Today,
Mhm.
I've made a website, www.soldierunplugged.in. That is
Okay.
one way to find me. Otherwise,
Yeah.
the best way to find me is apna Instagram,
Yeah.
underscore COL underscore BHARWAN underscore.
Yeah.
Colonel Bharwan. That is the place where you're going to find me.
Yeah.
And whatever I experience in the lesson, I want to bring on the table for, masses. So I
Yeah.
write a long article till the time the last full stop, is not allowed by Instagram. And maximum people, they come to read there. I put some music and
Yeah.
some sense to put it in alignment. And
Yeah.
most of the people, they visit there. So that is
Yeah.
the easiest way, because I visit definitely once a day in Instagram.
And on a how many people train under you on a daily basis? Like, is it like a lot of people who come there, or are you selective? How does
Yeah,
that? Yeah.
I am selective.
Yeah.
Uh, Selective in the sense, there are people, and somebody who want to learn definitely is more than welcome. But somebody who says, "Sir, I'm very poor. I have financial problems. I have this problem. There are a lot of issues in my family. There's no environment in my family," and I don't like people who complain.
Yeah.
But I like people who would self-respect. You, sir, I'm very poor, but I'm ready to work hard, and
Yeah.
I want to learn.
Yeah.
So there are people, who can't afford anything. I sponsor them with 1 rupee. I give them 1 rupee, and they
Yeah.
do the reverse transaction into my account. But all expenses are borne by me. But
Yeah.
it is only for those people who are deserving,
Yeah.
and they had qualified to a level where they had worked hard and proved their worthiness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thereafter, otherwise, anybody who want to learn, irrespective, there are housewives, there are people who had recently gone through divorce, there are
Yeah.
people who are married as a couple, working professional, anyone. But I do speak to them and I try to find out why they want to come. So
Yeah.
most of the people, they want to get answers for their questions. They want to get that confidence. They want to actually learn. Sir, and I'm dying. Initially, I
Yeah.
was very scared. Doctor said you have got only 6 months with you, but
Yeah.
I know with you in a 6 month I'll give some meaning. I want to come to you. I come. And now
Right.
it has been 3 years, and I keep teasing him, idiot. You
Yeah.
buddy, made a wrong statement. You said 3 months I'm going to die. It has been 3 years, and you're still sitting on my head. The
That's
idea
very,
is actually to make people feel loved, but I am very selective. Anybody with anything is acceptable, but anybody with a rude behavior is absolutely not acceptable.
yeah.
Anybody who is a complaint box is not acceptable.
Yeah.
Somebody says that I have nothing, but I have willpower and I want to work, more than
Mm.
welcome. You
Yeah.
know.
Totally hear you. So, okay. So, what keeps you motivated
Mm.
after all these years of working? You are like a very high energy ball. Not a lot of people have this kind of energy, right? I have met a lot of people. I mean, most people, 99% of humans don't have this kind of energy. It's a truth. And
Actually, please
yes,
continue.
go ahead. No, no, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
You please continue. I'm listening to you.
No, I was just saying that 99% of the people don't have your kind of energy. So what keeps you going on a daily basis?
People. Because see, when Akshata, when you see a guy who's been absolutely on the bed for last 2 years, but
Yeah.
in 20 days and he get up back on his feet and he go running 30 kilometers, that gives me kick. Somebody who was in wheelchair but now he's standing on his feet and giving 2,000 punches on a boxing box, that gives me kick.
Yeah.
Somebody who was so dead and he said, "Ki, committed suicide many attempts, but I failed." And today he is a chief guest and is going to the various platforms as motivational speaker. My student. He
Yeah.
says, "Sir, you got hold me by the neck and he said, I'm going to kill you, idiot. You don't do this."
Yeah.
There are people who had done all kind of mistakes in their life. But I tell them, ki, the moment you had entered my campus, now hereafter nothing is for free. I'm sitting there with you.
Yeah.
If any kind of thing you're carrying in your heart, you want to beat someone, you beat me. You want to abuse someone, abuse me. Whatever you want to do with me, and do shit with me, and I'm okay with it. But when you
Mhm.
leave this campus and you travel light with a chin up and with a
Yeah.
big smile on your face, and I said, I will do it. And then
Yeah.
they claim to me, sir, when I came, I actually came to find meaning enough for my own self. But today I'm going to give the meaning to the world once I go back from here. So that
Yeah.
gives me, I see dead people walking in and I see live people going out of the campus. So
Yeah.
that gives me a lot of energy. I need to do more. I need to give back to the society. I need to do more.
Mhm.
But yes, and this entire thing, maybe God has been kind to me and He is keeping me going. Now I
Yeah.
have reached a stage where, even for so much of love from the people.
Yeah.
115, people doing your babysitting. And if I sleep on the floor somewhere, everyone will come in and sleep there only. Sir, we want to sleep here with you. And you go anywhere, people will ask you 10 times, sir, please take care of yourself. The only thing they tell me, sir, take some rest, take food on time, take some sleep. That is the
Yeah.
only request I hear from the people. And they always keep telling me they love me so much. And I think that is something which keeps me going. Every third day, fourth day, they give you some name. Somebody calls Mama, sir. They say Colonel Magic, Colonel Quick Fix, Antidote, okay, Mafasa, a boat. And Colonel Quick Fix, Colonel Solution, so many other names, you know. And I
Yeah,
feel I can do more, I can earn more names, I can do more. So I'm happy with what I'm doing, and God has been very kind. People
yeah,
have been extremely, extremely kind and loving to me, you know.
yeah. So, if you were not in the defense career, and if you were not doing what you're doing with Soldiers Unplugged, what would you be doing? I saw an interview of yours where
Then,
somebody asked,
yeah.
"You're going to be the prime minister" or something like that, right?
Mm.
Somebody said that. I
No,
saw.
no, 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 no. I'm very happy doing, you know, what I'm doing. You know, you don't see, as I told you, you don't require a particular seat or a, you know, appointment to do something good in life.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
common man can also add some value to somebody's else. You know.
I agree.
Everybody is living for himself. If you want to do something for someone, you don't
Yeah,
require particular chair or an appointment in office for that. You know, there's
yeah,
no guarantee with more resources one will be able to do more.
yeah,
Had I not been in army, the only option, then I think I would have created an army of my own, and I
yeah.
still would have served in army only.
You are creating an army of your own.
I had
And
already created an army of my own. I have a lot of soldiers, and I'm one of them.
yeah, yeah, for
That's
sure.
why soldier uncle. That is what is written on my T-shirt at the back.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna get steal that monk T-shirt, and I'm gonna
No,
get
you
my
don't have to steal. That's your right. Now you're part of the family, and you just whenever you visit, you just need to ping me, and I'll ensure that it reaches your door. That's a word to you.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so this is gonna be my last question, and probably a very heavy
No, no,
question.
there is nothing last, Akshata, in life. There is one question more.
One question more.
Yes.
So, is there a book or is there a person or an
Mhm.
experience that significantly influenced your life? In the many years that you've lived,
One book.
or a
Mm.
person, anything. It could be a book, a person,
My
anybody.
father, my
Father.
mother,
Okay.
yeah, my parents. They
Yeah.
have significant. Whatever I am today, I owe it only to them.
Yeah. That
Whatever
is
I am, you know.
outside of your parents, your mother, your father.
There are so many people, you know, starting from my students to the people, you know, who are important part of the history. You know, there are a
Yeah.
lot of things I've learned from everyone. It's
Yeah.
not like that, you know, there's one particular person who had hate me very hard. But yes, there
Yeah.
are a lot of people, you know, the list is endless. There are a lot of people, and I can come up with, you know, he, and she. A lot of
Yeah.
people, yeah.
Yeah.
Dead or alive, who had contributed to my growth.
Okay. But
Yeah.
no, significantly one person that you think has contributed significantly, and it has like completely changed the way
I
you
mean,
move
the
in.
only reason is ki I think and it will be very unfair if I take only one name. There are thousands and lakh of people, you know, who had
Yeah.
been part of my this journey. You know,
Yeah.
somebody you know who had, in fact, California only in last year there was a boy Rohit. You know,
Yeah.
he was a very rare case, and he said, "Ki, can I have a word with you?" You know, I don't have much time with me. I said, "No, what happened?" He said, "Ki, you know, I have got a rare kind of leukemia
Yeah.
where I've got two blood groups in my body. I never
Okay.
heard of something like that."
Yeah.
And he said, "Ki, I'm in ICU for the last 1 year. You know."
Yeah.
Then we had some talk. He came out of the ICU. We went to NASA, clicked some photograph. But then
Mhm.
one fine day, and the journey came to an end. You know,
Yeah.
I had traveled something, and that boy was so noble. And he said, "Okay, I want to do something for the cancer patient. I want to
Yeah.
come and work with you. I want to build a cancer hospital. A lot of things."
Yeah.
Even after this thing, and a lot of people who had been part of the ceremony, everybody planted a tree. This
Yeah.
is how he wanted. You know, there are a lot of people who had contributed to my journey, and whatever I am today, it's only because people who have been part of my journey.
Yeah.
So there are hundreds of them, and I'm thankful to each one of them. You know,
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I've never thought about it that way, but I mean, for me, I've had one pivotal moment where I thought like it completely shifted for me. But if you had many people, I mean, of course, many people who come along the way. I was recently telling a good friend of mine that everybody, I mean, there are sometimes people who come and go right out of your life, and even they have something to teach you because they've come and gone because they have something to teach you. And I've had a lot of people who've come and gone and have taught me something, and even enemies have taught me something, I would say.
so true. Everything.
Yeah. Anyways, it was really nice chatting with you and talking about so much leadership, because that's what Make Us Bar is all about. We are about creating and raising a million leaders. We are on that mission, right? And this was really, really motivational in many ways. And I hope, throughout time, people look at this interview, and I'm honored to do this interview. Look at this interview
Feeling
and
solicited.
yeah, and say that, oh, we learned something from you.
Right. Idea is just to share whatever little I know and with
Yeah,
anyone and everyone.
yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Akshata. Thanks so much
Yeah.
to all the listeners.